So I had a sneaking suspicion something was going to be going live here tonight in AFK Journey test server, and that's what we're going to jump into right now. If we jump into game, let me jump on over to our main scene here. You'll see Mikola is actually already here on the test servers. Now, she's not on the global servers. That's most likely going to be on Thursday at reset, sometime around there. But sadly, because of the timing of this on this server, we literally have 2 banners up right now. And seeing that this is a brand new account, we have no diamonds saved up because we're trying to build a team. So I tried using my 2 summons I had. I completely whiffed on Mikola. But it does look like the same thing is going to be happening. You have the extra affinity, which is really cool for her. So let's take a look at this hero because, well, she looks awesome and her skill set from first look is pretty impressive as well. She is an S level hero and she is a support hero, physical damage dealer, range 1, pretty much most of the things that we expected. So let's start off. Actually, you know, I don't see what her animations look like. Anything cool? Looking at her feet. She is the least animal out of all the animals. Like, she's literally just got the ears, it looks like. And a tail. Okay, she's got a tail, too. She's got a lot of bells on her, drums, everything. She's got the Mauler faction symbol. Okay, let's take a look at the abilities. This hero reminds me very much of Smokey and Mirky. And just very similar. Let's just leave it as very similar. So, Dauntless Hymn. Mikola generates a 2-tile courage sphere, so that's the same thing as Smokey's original 2-tile range circle around her, increasing haste and range defense for allies within it. So that's kind of cool. Haste and defense. The haste is really good, while increasing her own haste by 30 and range defense by 10. When Mikola deals total damage equal to 300% of her initial attack while Courage Sphere is around, a healing wave will emerge, restoring 800% of HP, or 80% of her attack HP to all allies within a sphere. So that's probably not going to be a huge one. That does increase it, and then the sphere does go up to 12 seconds. It seems decent, but remember, this is on her ultimate cast here, and it is a 2-tile range AoE. So it's interesting. Smokey, he starts with 2, and like that aroma goes out. It's a very similar type thing, but she has some really interesting abilities. Heroic Duel. So she generates an honor arena spanning the entire battlefield when the battle starts. This immediately like reminds me of those battles we have in like Supreme Arena and some of the world battles where like there's the gauge that goes back and forth. So this is going to be the whole battle when it starts, a whole battlefield, lasts until the battle ends. The side with more units within the area will gain control of that side, maintaining the advantage for 3 seconds. Mikola restores all allies HP by 12% per second, which is pretty solid, and then increases their attack by 14% when her side gains control of the arena. That does go up to 20. So this is conditional, whereas Smokey's is just like guaranteed. So I don't know if it's necessarily good. 20% attack buff is a really nice buff. So she has a lot of buffs to her team between these 2 units, but Vigorous Call is good as well. Mikola rings her bell, restoring 130% HP and increasing physical and magic defense by 40% for herself and the 2 weakest allies for 5 seconds. That's really strong. 40% buff to physical and magic defense. That's pretty much what Scarlita does, which is really good. So a similar ability, I guess I should say. It always targets herself and then 2 of the weakest allies. That's pretty good. The cooldown is 12 seconds on this, so that's pretty good because it looks like initial cooldown is only 1, meaning she'll get this off immediately at the beginning of battle, which is really interesting. So herself and probably like the 2 tanks or something like that will get this buff and then also have a pretty solid heal up to 190% of her attack. That's pretty solid because her hero's focus also helps all these abilities that are based on her attack value, increases her attack up to 15% during battle, and then she gains an extra 10% when her side gains control of this honor arena. So you really want to try to make sure the sides of the battlefield are really taken over. She does have an interesting Mythic Plus. I don't know right out of the gate if it's like impressive, especially when compared to someone like Smokey and Mirky's, but this can go on for the entire battle, where Smokey's big burst damage is on the 3rd ultimate only. Passionate Opening. Mikola enhances her Courage Sphere after it has been active for 6 seconds. So remember, that is this ability right here that initially lasts 10 seconds and then goes up to 12. So the first, it has to be active for 6 seconds, and then this kicks in, granting Combat Fury to all allied heroes except herself. I don't know necessarily exactly what it is. It looks like Mikola increases damage dealt per second to enemies adjacent by 60%. I'm not quite sure exactly what Combat Fury does. I don't know if that's an ability or something like that. I probably feel kind of stupid here. The fact that I feel like I should know. We'll have to see. Within range and dealing damage equal to 50% of her attack per second to enemies adjacent to those allies. The enhancements will reset when Courage Sphere disappears. So you're going to have this for 4 or up to 6 seconds out of every ultimate, which is interesting. The other thing is you get 30 vitality for all allies that have that Combat Fury. I don't know how influential this will be. Vitality is nice. It is a pretty solid stat. I do like it. It's good survivability. But when you compare it to someone like Smokey, whose damage is based on a percentage of the enemy's HP, whereas this is basically 6 seconds, 50% of her attack. I don't know what I like it. It does increase the skill range to 3 tiles, it looks like. So I feel like it's gonna bump this up 1 tile very much, again, like Smokey Mirky. And then finally, her Supreme Plus. Her Courage Sphere remains unaffected in duration if her side controls the honor field. So this is where, if you really push her to Supreme Plus, this whole thing that we're talking about here, where, you know, the ultimate's only up for 10 seconds, up to 12 seconds, and of course you're enhancing it. This is where it's going to be big, because I do think one really important thing to note is that this ability and this ability might be very, very strong against Dream Realm bosses, because of course you're most likely going to have the advantage in this battle in numbers, because there's only one boss. So something like this could be really big, and the fact that if it can just remain forever, as long as you control the honor arena, the Courage Sphere from the ultimate will always be going off. That's pretty big. That's pretty big, because that essentially means she's doing a big healing wave, I guess, as well, which is, I wonder if it's every time or if it's just one time that she does that heal. That's going to be interesting. The cool part is she has that damage per second basically the entire battle at that point. And that could be very strong. We've seen how strong Ludovic can be in Dream Realm bosses with that dot damage, that the AoE damage kind of building up from the healing too. So this could be strong. I just don't know just yet how strong this hero could be. She reminds me a lot of Smokey and Mirky. We'll have to see what the comparisons are. And sadly, we won't be able to do much testing with her on the test servers, but we only should have to wait a day or two, and then we'll be able to test her on our live global, build her all the way to Supreme, and see how she performs. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let me know what you guys think. She's finally here, and I'll see you guys next time.